Have you ever walked into a dealership intending to buy a reliable basic car and somehow walked out mentally defending the premium trim, the panoramic sunroof, the bigger wheels, and the upgraded sound system? You did not suddenly become richer. The sticker price did not magically fall. What changed was the question. The decision moved from, how much does this actually cost, to, can I handle the payment? And that one shift can make expensive choices feel completely normal. I'm Tony. Welcome to Grow with Tony. We'll keep this educational, not personal financial advice. Think about the first question many people hear when they sit down to talk financing. It is not, what total price keeps your future flexible? It is, where do you want your monthly payment to be? That sounds helpful. It sounds like the person is trying to respect your budget. But that question is also the doorway into one of the most powerful traps in everyday money decisions. I call it the monthly payment illusion. The illusion works because your brain is much better at judging a small monthly number than a large total commitment. A $50,000 price tag feels heavy. It has gravity. It makes you pause. It makes you picture years of work, savings, trade-offs, and lost options. But $600 a month feels like a budget line. Your brain compares it to rent, groceries, insurance, subscriptions, and your paycheck. If the payment fits beside the other bills, the purchase starts to feel responsible. That is the dangerous part. The payment may fit, while the decision is still too expensive. Consumer finance guidance makes this point clearly with auto loans. Do not compare offers by monthly payment alone. Look at the amount financed, APR, interest rate, loan length, and total cost. A longer term can lower the monthly payment while increasing the total interest you pay over the life of the loan. In other words, the car did not become cheaper. The price was stretched. And once the price is stretched, your brain stops staring at the full cost. It stares at the slice. That is not just a car problem. Cars are only the easy example because the numbers are big and the sales process makes the trick visible. The same trick shows up at checkout, in furniture stores, in phone plans, in credit card minimums, in subscriptions, in apartment choices, in gym memberships, and in every place where a business can turn one uncomfortable number into several comfortable ones. This is where the psychology matters. Behavioral economists have a phrase for the discomfort of parting with money: the pain of paying. Prelec and Lowenstein wrote about how consumption and payment can be mentally connected or separated. When payment is tightly connected to consumption, you feel the cost more directly. When payment is delayed, hidden, automatic, or abstract, the cost can feel quieter. Neuroeconomics research points in the same direction, but we have to say it carefully. One purchase decision study found that excessive prices activated the insula, a brain region linked with negative feelings, before people decided not to buy. That does not mean every credit card swipe shuts off your brain. That would be too clean and too dramatic. The real lesson is simpler and more useful. The format of payment changes how loudly the cost is felt. Cash feels different from tapping a phone. A full price feels different from 4 installments. A total loan cost feels different from a monthly payment. And an automatic deduction feels different from actively handing over money every month. That is why buy now, pay later can feel so smooth. Imagine you are buying a $300 jacket online. $300 feels a little serious for a jacket. You hesitate. You look at the cart. You think, do I really need this? Then the checkout screen shows 4 payments of $75. Suddenly, the decision changes shape. $75 feels like dinner. It feels like one casual night out. It feels like something your budget can absorb. The jacket did not get cheaper. The first emotional checkpoint got smaller. Federal Reserve SHED 2025 data reported that 16% of adults used buy now, pay later in the prior 12 months. The same report said that 11% of BNPL users had a payment trigger an overdraft or insufficient funds fee in the prior year. Kansas City Fed research also notes that smaller BNPL installments may make purchases seem more affordable than they really are, which can raise the risk of overspending or debt accumulation for some consumers. That is not an argument that every BNPL purchase is bad. It is proof that small payments can still collide with real cash flow. The trap is not the product name. The trap is letting the payment format replace the real decision. Now watch how this spreads into lifestyle choices. You are looking at two apartments. Apartment A is $2,000 a month. Apartment B is $2,200 a month, but it has a better view, nicer appliances, a better lobby, and maybe a gym downstairs. Once your brain is anchored to $2,000, the difference feels like only $200. Only $200. That phrase is doing a lot of work. $200 a month is $2,400 a year. Over 5 years, before any investment return or opportunity cost, that is $12,000 of income that was already assigned to the upgrade. Maybe the upgrade is worth it. Sometimes the better location, the safer building, or the better commute really does improve your life. But you do not want to make that decision while your brain is only holding the monthly difference. Because once you evaluate life by the monthly gap, everything becomes only a little more. Only $50 more for the premium phone plan. Only $40 more for the better gym. Only $20 more for extra storage. Only a small add-on for the warranty. Only a little more for the nicer trim. Each one sounds reasonable by itself. That is why the trap is so hard to catch. Nobody feels reckless because of one small upgrade. But your future income does not experience them one by one. Your future income experiences the stack. One payment asks for a corner of your paycheck. 10 payments start rearranging the room. This is how someone can make good money and still feel trapped. Not because they bought one absurd thing, but because they allowed too many normal-looking payments to become permanent claims on future income. And here is where the payment trap gets even more subtle. The first upgrade often changes what feels normal around it. There is a pattern people often call the Diderot Effect, named after Dennis Diderot, and later popularized in consumer culture writing by Grant McCracken. The simple version is this. One upgraded possession can make the rest of your life feel slightly out of place. So you start upgrading the things around it. You get the premium car, and suddenly the messy garage feels embarrassing. You buy the detailing kit. Then the old bag does not match the car interior. Then the old shoes feel wrong when you step out of the car. Or you move into the nicer apartment and suddenly the old couch looks cheap. Then the coffee table needs to match. Then the dishes, the lamps, the wall art, the bedding, the home office setup, the whole identity of the place starts asking for money. This is not because you are stupid. This is because purchases do not only buy function, they can buy identity. And once a payment plan makes the first upgrade feel normal, the identity upgrade starts looking normal too. That is the deeper trap. The payment does not just reduce the pain of one purchase. It can raise the standard for the next purchase. So if the payment trap has a voice, it does not say, destroy your finances today. It says, relax, this is only a little more. And if you hear that voice enough times, your budget slowly becomes a museum of tiny yeses. This is the line I want you to remember. The price did not get smaller. It just became quieter. Once you see that, you stop asking only, can I afford the monthly payment? You start asking, what full commitment is this payment making quiet? That is the whole shift. A payment is not proof that something is affordable. A payment is a claim on future income. When you say yes to a payment, you are reserving money that future you has not received yet. Sometimes that is a responsible choice. Sometimes it is necessary. Sometimes it is part of a clear plan. But it is never something to judge by the small number alone. So how do you break the spell? You reintroduce friction, not misery, not guilt. Friction. You make the full cost visible before the payment gets to make the decision for you. Here are 3 rules that do that. Rule number 1. Price the whole deal before you talk about the payment. If you are buying a car, that means out-the-door price first. Total price. Taxes. Fees, add-ons, trade-in assumptions, loan term, APR, total interest. The number that tells you what the deal really costs, not the number designed to sound comfortable. If someone asks, where do you want your monthly payment to be? A better answer is, I want to understand the total price and the full financing terms first. That one sentence changes the negotiation. It moves you from payment first to cost first. And this applies outside the dealership too. If you are looking at furniture financing, ask for the full price. The promotional deadline, the payment needed to clear the balance before that deadline, and what happens if the balance is not paid in full? If you are considering a phone upgrade, ask for the full device price, the plan requirement, the trade-in condition, the insurance add-on, the activation fee, and the cancellation rules. If you are looking at a subscription, ask what the annual cost is and how hard it is to cancel. The payment is allowed to be part of the conversation. It is not allowed to be the whole conversation. Rule number 2. Use a 48-hour pause for anything financed or emotionally upgraded. The payment trap loves momentum. It loves the showroom. It loves the checkout screen. It loves the timer. It loves the phrase, "only today." It loves the feeling that you are about to become the person who owns the better version. The pause breaks that spell. For 48 hours, do not negotiate with the small payment. Do not let the first installment argue for the purchase. Do not let the premium identity do the math. Write down the full cost. Write down the payment count. Write down the term or deadline. Write down what else is already hitting your account every month. Then come back. Some purchases will survive the pause. Good. That means the decision is probably not just a dopamine spike. But many purchases look different after the emotional lighting turns off. The jacket becomes a jacket again. The car trim becomes upholstery and speakers. The apartment upgrade becomes $12,000 over 5 years. The subscription becomes another claim on your future paycheck. That is not deprivation, that is clarity. Rule number 3. Translate the purchase into hours of your life. Money can become abstract. Time stays personal. Take the total cost, not just the payment, and divide it by your true after-tax hourly wage. If you take home $25 an hour and the phone you are financing will cost $1,500 all in, that is 60 hours of your life. 60 hours is not a tiny monthly payment. It is mornings you wake up tired. It is traffic. It is meetings you did not want. It is hours you could have used to save, invest, rest, travel, build a skill, help family, or buy something you value more. The point is not that the phone is automatically wrong. The point is that the decision becomes honest. If you still want the phone after pricing it as 60 hours, at least you know what you traded. When you price things in hours instead of installments, expensive choices stop feeling normal so quickly. Now, let me be fair. There are times when payments are useful. A mortgage can let someone buy a home they could not buy in cash. A necessary car loan can help someone get to work. A medical payment plan can help someone handle a real need. Even a promotional offer can be useful if the payoff plan is real and the deadline is respected. This is why I do not like lazy advice that says, never finance anything. Real life is more complicated than that. But I also do not like the opposite lie, which says, if the payment fits, you can afford it. That is the sentence that gets people trapped. The mature version is, I understand the full commitment and I still choose it. That is very different from, I can squeeze the payment into this month. The first sentence is a decision. The second sentence might be, a trap wearing a budget costume. So before your next payment decision, use this pause sentence. Before I accept the payment, I need to see the full commitment. Say it before the loan paperwork. Say it before the phone upgrade. Say it before the buy now, pay later button. Say it before the apartment upgrade. Say it before the subscription that looks too small to matter. Before I accept the payment, I need to see the full commitment. That sentence makes the quiet price loud again. And once the price is loud, you can choose like an adult instead of reacting like a shopper. Sometimes you will still say yes, that is fine. But now the payment is a tool, not a trick. Other times, you will realize the only reason the purchase felt smart was because the full cost was hidden. That is your warning. A payment plan can solve timing. It cannot make the real price disappear. And wealth is not built by seeing how many payments you can survive each month. It is built by protecting enough future income so your life still has options. So I want to hear from you. What is one purchase where the monthly payment made you spend more than you originally planned? Drop it in the comments, because naming the trap out loud makes it much easier to see next time. And if you want more practical money lessons like this, subscribe to Grow with Tony. Keep learning, keep growing your wealth, and I will see you in the next one.